Conference on Local Production of Medicines and Health Technologies, Algeria's commitment to sharing its expertise in the pharmaceutical industry with African countries, supporting continental cooperation and achieving health security objectives. The 49th Conference of the European Coordination of Support and Solidarity with the Sahrawi People, UCOCO, continues for the second and last day in the French capital, Paris, with more than 260 participants from around the world. And the Arab League Educational, Cultural and Scientific Organization, ALESCO, has reiterated its unwavering support to the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people and its firm position in favor of the respect of international law and relevant UN resolutions. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First, in our news, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has offered his sincere condolences and deepest sympathy to the family of late scholar Tahir Osman Bori, the Khalifa of the spiritual guide of the Tijaniya order in Nigeria. President Tebboune said in his message that the death of Tahir Osman Bori is a great and immense loss for the entire Muslim Ummah, adding that his death came at a time when the Ummah or the nation is in dire need of him and of his vast knowledge that illuminated countries within our continent and beyond, contributing alongside other scholars to spreading the faith and strengthening ties between Muslim lands, as he was always among the finest advocates of our true religion in the world. Health Minister Mohammed Sadiq Ait Masoudan has emphasized Algeria's commitment to sharing its expertise in the pharmaceutical industry with African countries, supporting continental cooperation and achieving health security objectives. During the session dedicated to adopting the Algiers Declaration, held at the Abdel-Latif Rahal International Conference Center in Algiers at the end of the African Ministerial Conference on Local Production of Medicines and Health Technologies, Ait Masoudan stressed that Algeria proudly offers its experience in pharmaceutical production to its African brothers and sisters in order to build continental cooperation, strengthen health security, and support the continent's sustainable development. The minister stated that Africa today faces a historic responsibility regarding its health security, arguing that the Algiers Declaration, adopted by the participant countries, which is a pivotal document that outlines the continent's priorities in terms of pharma production, should be translated into a concrete action program accompanied by tangible achievements for the benefit of every African citizen. Let's listen to the health minister.
The Algiers Declaration is a pivotal document that outlines the continent's plan of action. First, in terms of producing the continent's medicines and medical supplies. Second, intensifying regional cooperation. Third, strengthening supply chain. And fourth, ensuring access to safe and sustainable healthcare products through Africa. Currently, Africa produces only 5% of its products, and the recommendation is that it produces 50% of its products by 2035, as Africa will be home to the quarter of the global population. Algeria produces currently 82%, become the driving force for Africa to reach 50% by the end of 2035.
Meanwhile, the National Agency for Pharmaceutical Products, ANPP, signed 2 agreements with its Senegalese and Tanzanian counterparts aimed at strengthening cooperation in the areas of regulating the production of medicines and medical devices, exchanging information and sharing expertise. The signing took place on the sidelines of the session dedicated to adopting the Algiers Declaration under the supervision of the Minister of Pharmaceutical Industry, Wassim Qidri, and the Minister of Health, Mohammed Sadiq Ait Masoudan, and attended by African Ministers of Health and Pharmaceutical Industry and their representatives from 28 African countries, as well as representatives of national, African, and international organizations. A delegation from both houses of parliament led by Mr. Nasser Batish has participated in Cairo, Egypt in the proceedings of the standing committees of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Union for the Mediterranean, PAUMP. A statement from the lower house of parliament said that the meetings included the committees on political affairs, security and human rights, economic, financial and social affairs, education, women's rights in Mediterranean countries, improving the quality of life, exchanges between civil societies and culture, in addition to the committee on energy, environment and water, and culture as well. These meetings cover several issues related to the development of Mediterranean parliamentary action and the strengthening of coordination between member states through examining ways and means to consolidate cooperation, partnership and regional integration between the two shores of the Mediterranean, each within the framework of the prerogatives of the relevant committee. Algeria will be hosting tomorrow a two-day conference on colonial crimes in Africa, attended by several African countries. Masoud Sharfi has more details in this report.
Algeria is hosting tomorrow here in Algiers the first international conference on the crimes of colonialism in Africa, following an African Union AU decision endorsing President Abdelmajid Tebboun's initiative for the AU's 2025 agenda. Placed under the theme Justice for Africans and People of African Descent Through Reparation, the event will bring together ministers, legal experts, historians and academics from across Africa and the Caribbean to develop a unified African position on historical justice, reparations, and the restitution of cultural heritage. Discussions will address the human, cultural, economic, and environmental impacts of colonialism, including resource exploitation, cultural destruction, and nuclear testing in Africa. The participants will also examine legal mechanisms to strengthen the recognition of colonialism as a crime against humanity. The two-day conference is to culminate into the adoption of the Algiers Declaration, which will guide Africa's future strategy on justice and reparations. It will be presented to the African Union Summit meeting due to take place in February 2026. Through such an initiative, Algeria reaffirms its leading role in defending African dignity, memory, and historical rights.
And the 49th Conference of the European Coordination of Support and Solidarity with the Sahrawi People, UCOCO, continues in the French capital, Paris, with more than 260 participants from around the world. The conference, which kicked off yesterday, Friday, under the slogan Self-Determination and Respect for the Right of Decolonization of Western Sahara, brings together, among others, representatives of civil society and trade union organizations from various countries, national, local, and European elected officials, as well as members of the Sahrawi diaspora in France. On the second and final day of the conference, several panels will be on the agenda, namely respect for the fundamental rights of the Sahrawi people, responsibility of the international community, feedback from UCOCO field workshops, citizen mobilization in Europe, and others. The proceedings of the 49th UCOCO conference will culminate in a final declaration. In his opening address, UCOCO President Pierre Gallon emphasized the symbolic significance of holding the UCOCO conference in Paris, while also announcing that the 50th edition would be held in Madrid. It should be noted that on the first day of the conference, the proceedings began with formal remarks from members of the French Parliament and Senate, as well as European and Spanish parliamentarians and representatives of civil society from Europe, Africa, and the United States. Sahrawi Prime Minister Bashir Hammoudi Bioun affirmed that France's positions regarding the Western Sahara conflict are completely at odds with its historical values. Mr. Bioun emphasized that choosing France to host the 49th Conference of the European Coordination of Solidarity with the Sahrawi People, UCOCO, was a wise decision given the country's historical message of liberty, equality, and fraternity. For his part, the representative of the Polisario Front to the UN, Sidi Mohamed Omar, hailed Algeria's role and unwavering positions not only towards the Sahrawi cause, but also towards other just causes in the world, including the Palestinian cause. Let's listen to him.
مجلس الأمن والدول الملتزمة بنص وروح ميثاق.
This day of solidarity with the Palestinian people is very important because it reminds us all of the importance of peace, security, dignity, and the rights of the Palestinian people. Today, as the UN resident coordinator in Algeria, I am very pleased to have had the opportunity together with the Embassy of the State of Palestine here in Algiers, Algeria, a country that has always supported the Palestinian cause, to celebrate together this important event.
It's worth recalling that the annual UCOCO conference, organized with the support of the Polisario Front, is the main international gathering of solidarity with the Sahrawi people. For more than 30 years, it has brought together several hundreds activists, NGOs, trade unions, researchers, and elected officials from around the world. And shifting now to the Middle East, where the Arab League Educational, Cultural and Scientific Organization, ALISCO, has reiterated its unwavering support to the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people and its firm position in favor of the respect of the international law and relevant UN resolutions. Mariam Barsha has more details.
In a communique issued on the occasion of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, it expressed its deep concern at the persisting tension on the ground and at the ensuing violations targeting the civilians and infrastructure. These, which hit the cultural and educational institutions, are undermining the development of the Palestinian people and endangering its security. ALISCO stressed the importance of pooling diplomatic efforts and to back international initiatives aimed at offering prospects for a lasting, fair and peaceful solution based on internationally agreed reference terms to put an end to the Israeli occupation and to allow for the creation of an independent Palestinian state. This came as two Palestinian children were today shot dead by the Israeli soldiers in Bani Suhaila, east of Khan Yunis, in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Over 350 Palestinians have been killed in the continued bombardments launched by the Israeli occupying forces against Gaza, despite the ceasefire enforced last October. Earlier, the UN High Commission for Human Rights called for the setting up of a thorough investigation to look into the killing of two Palestinians in the West Bank town of Jenin and claim that those behind the attack be accounted for. The High Commissioner, Volker Turk, expressed dismay at the odious murder he denounced as an appearance new summary execution.
Still in the Middle East file, as the world celebrates today the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, the former Palestinian Education Minister Sabri Saidam hailed the commemoration as an opportunity to raise the Palestinians' voice and to affirm that the setting up of an independent state was inevitable.
On this International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, we make the voice of the Palestinian people heard and commend Algeria for its consistent and supportive stances. We say to all our people from the capital of Algiers that the journey continues, the struggle persists, and the establishment of our state is inevitable. Algeria remains loyal to its oath. Algeria acts with wisdom, presence, and distinguished diplomacy. Warm greetings from the hearts of Palestinians.
And today's commemoration was also hailed by the UN resident coordinator in Algeria, Sabina Amassari, as a major reminder of the importance of peace and security for the Palestinian people.
This day of solidarity with the Palestinian people is very important because it reminds us all of the importance of peace, security, dignity, and the rights of the Palestinian people. Today, as the UN resident coordinator in Algeria, I am very pleased to have had the opportunity, together with the Embassy of the State of Palestine here in Algiers, Algeria, a country that has always supported the Palestinian cause, to celebrate together this important event.
And with this last piece of news, we come to the end of our news bulletin. We leave you now with our final program, which is an interview compiled and presented by our colleague Jamal Simani, devoted to Emir Abdel Qadir. And to catch up with our news, you can watch our Facebook page or X platform page, or download our application My Algerian Radio on your smartphones or cars. With this, we come to the end of it. We'll meet you again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Until then, stay tuned and bye-bye for now.
Hello, you're listening to the English service of Radio Algeria International. Today in our program, we introduce